and Craig Smoak.
Back inside the Media Hotel, the Marriott, the Arts District, New Orleans, Louisiana. Started the second hour. We're here today, tomorrow, Friday, and of course the game on Saturday night, Baylor at Ole Miss. And we're now joined by J.J. Joe, former Baylor quarterback, and also a part of Baylor Radio as well on Sikkim 365 and 365 Sports. We've missed you, J.J., this long in between games. We're done with this. It's time to play a game. How you been, sir?
Hey, it's been great, Smoke, to have just a few Saturdays off.
It has been nice to decompress just a little bit. The team, of course, has arrived, and Dave Aranda gave us a sneak peek on Blake Shapen the shoulder. Not probably a surprise because of what happened in the second half with Oklahoma State, and that Gary Bohannon was back almost to full throttle. Your thoughts about Bohannon having that extra week or two or three to be able to get himself ready for this game?
You know, that's huge because, I mean, if when you have a bad hamstring, it takes you a minimum of a month. And then more than likely that 4 to 6 weeks, he's in about, I think, 6 weeks. He did that on November 20. So he probably is right where he wants to be. Probably would like to use another week, but I like him in this game having the ability to use his legs, hopefully now. And that's my big one, Smoke, is if he can use his legs against a defense that really yields some yards on the ground, it can be really beneficial. But I'm glad to see him back, putting a lot of work this season.
JJ, but Blake Shapen being out means that Kyron Drones is the backup. How different will it be for him preparing this week, especially since, hamstrings, Gary might be recovered from it, but it's not one of those things that anybody's going to breathe easy on until he's, on the plane back to Waco after playing 4 quarters.
Yeah, no, he has to be game ready. Now, I haven't had a chance to see Kyron much or get to know him, but I'm anticipating that he understands the elevated level of readiness he has to have because, you're right. If Gary opens it up one time, we don't know until he really has to go get it, and he could be in. So I'm thinking his level of readiness is really elevated. I think it really helps to see two guys ahead of you. Shapen, he got thrown in, and he was really ready. And I have no doubt that Sean Bell, being a former QB himself and a great coach, has him prepared and has a package for him.
So, JJ, what are your thoughts on what this opportunity means for Baylor? I mean, we were here 2 years ago, and, obviously that whole week it's already a different week. One, COVID's kind of made it different, obviously, from 2 years ago, but also we would have been talking about Matt Rule in the NFL right now for 3 hours, and instead we're actually talking about the Sugar Bowl. But just for this team and the journey they've been on, and in particular guys like Bernard and Petrie, et cetera, for them to have this one last ride and cap it off with a school record 12 wins. I mean, just what do you think the sense is with this team and their goals going into Saturday?
Man, Craig, I think it's huge. I mean, let's talk here a little bit. When was the last time we won a January 1st bowl game? I don't know if we have, so I think it'll be huge from that instance that if they can get this W, it'll be huge. Then, of course, like you mentioned, school record 12th win, that would be huge. And then just, being a top 10 program. If we lose, I think potentially we would squeak. Maybe we could stay inside the top 10. But if you win, you're probably going to end up as a top 5 program. And I believe that's huge. So it goes a long way towards recruiting, helping Coach Aranda be prepared for next year and trying to really build this thing out. And then also, like you mentioned, the guys who this is their last hurrah, the Trestons and I'm not sure. I'm thinking Connor. I mean, I think I heard he has another year, but he's had a great year. He may decide to leave, but a lot of veterans on that defense as well. This is their last hurrah. So they really want this one.
You mentioned that to end up in the top 10. We've seen what happened 2 years ago. We saw the 2 years they won the Big 12 title actually during the regular season in 13 and 14, and they didn't finish with that. They blew a tire against Central Florida, and then they blew a fourth quarter against Michigan State. Yeah, it is important. It's nice to be a part of that conversation, but it'd be nice to say you finished 4th or 5th or whatever it would be in the country.
Yeah, and you're going to play, Smoak, you're going to play a SEC team. Now people will say, well, it's the third best SEC team. It's not Alabama or Georgia. But I think Ole Miss is a really good team that, of course, Baylor has a hard time beating. It'll take their full effort. But it's a really good team. And if you can beat them, and then what happens is, you're playing Saturday night or New Year's night. You're probably the only show in town. You win. You're a top 5 program. Coach Aranda already probably can get in any house he wants to in Texas. But if you want to become, a national program, and Baylor started to do that, Rule kind of helped with that. You win games like this, you finish in the top 5. Then all of a sudden you can get in any home across the country, and that matters. That's huge for making that really building and solidifying that foundation.
JJ, on the Ole Miss side of things, I'm just going through their season. I think the most fair comparison to how Baylor their style of play is probably Texas A&M, and that's not even all that close to where it's A&M was a defense first team, just like Baylor is. We really haven't seen, and on the other side, we really seen these teams play a style like each other all year. So we really don't know what we're going to get on Saturday night, do we?
Now, you're right. We don't. I think the closest thing, Arkansas was really going to wanted to run the ball at them. And that was, I think, early October, and they really bludgeoned them as far as on the run game. I think they had about over 300 yards rushing. So I think, while the running schemes are different, I think Ole Miss is probably saying, hey, they're going to try to come at us and approach the game kind of like Arkansas did. But I agree. Maybe the A&M game is the closest comparison for Baylor. Man, they haven't seen this attack. This is Briles' attack. This is Levy, who we know was groomed by Briles. They're going to play fast. They're going to try to get you, confused. They're going to try to get you out of position, and then they're going to run that little Ely kid or young man, up the seam like we've seen so many times, in prior years when Briles was here. So, subs are going to be hard. Oh, Siaki, I'm hoping he's been running some wind sprints because it's going to be hard for them to sub that guy out, man.
Yeah, no doubt about that. JJ, Matt Corral, obviously a big-time player, was a Heisman favorite at one point during the season, and he's going to be playing his last ball game before going and becoming possibly the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, or at least the number 1 quarterback taken if it were, to happen today. What are your thoughts when you watch Matt Corral?
Yeah, I was just watching. Matter of fact, you guys mentioned I was watching some A&M video, just kind of getting my mind right. But I like him. He was nicked up this year. I think they said he had a high ankle sprain, probably had some other stuff. He's not a big kid, so in Briles' offense, you're going to take some hits. That style really relies on that quarterback quite a bit. But in any case, I like him. He's going to probably be the best quarterback we've seen, and I'm kind of thinking back. Craig, I think he is by far.
Yeah.
So his ability to be mobile, I don't know how willing he's going to be, as far as being able to run the ball. But if he's willing to run it, he's going to really stress those guys, and he's going to be a tough cover. They got a good runner, and they got guys on the edge. So you got to go get 30 to get these guys. If you don't get 30, they'll beat you by 10 points.
JJ, here they are. They arrived today. They play Saturday. It's the fact that they're going to play hopefully the game because other games are being canceled. To finish this deal, you mentioned the 12 wins. Now you're seeing teams win 14 or 15 games in a year if they're going to win the national title. To win 12 games, that's another standard that's never been reached before, no matter what other teams have done. How cool is that in the end when you think about this team?
It's really cool. Just thinking back when I played, we played 11 then, and then the bowl game was 12, and you didn't have the playoff. But, just trying to get to double digits, you just really realize how much of an effort it is just to get the double digits. We had one year where we got close and just didn't get there. But, to get to 12, I know people will say, hey, teams have won 13. Mm-hmm. But I think what matters the most, Smoak, is the fact that you finish in the top 5 in the country. That, to me, and it's going to take 12 wins to do it, so you're right. To me, that then, for all of the success, and I like to look at what Baylor's doing across the platform there on campus. Your women's basketball team is a standard bearer. Your men's basketball team now is a standard bearer. Your football team has been in the Big 12 championship, and 2 out of 3 years it's won it this year. You could set yourself up for the new Big 12 that's coming to be one of the big dogs. And I think Baylor set up for it. I think we're uniquely positioned. I think we have great coaching, and go get 12, and it really helps you move in that direction.
JJ, thank you. Appreciate it. Are you here? Did you land? Are you here tomorrow? When do you guys get in?
Oh, hey, man, me and the missus, we just took a road trip. We're just staying out of that can, man, and just road trip down. So we're here.
All right. Nice to have you, buddy. Hope to see you soon. Thank you, JJ.
Take care.
That's JJ Joe, color analyst for Baylor Radio, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. And Paul's about to, in fact, get in touch with Tom Flores, who called during the interview we had with JJ Joe. And I'm telling you, the chat room today, there's always something that sprouts out, and we've discussed some of the SEC with the 3 losses to the group of 5, and then last night, the Mississippi State performance, or lack of one, against Texas Tech, getting hammered by Sonny Cumbie and company, and there's a back and forth going on about the SEC, and no one's trying to say that they don't have elite teams. They absolutely do, and we're going to maybe see one on Saturday, and we'll see one Friday, 2 of them in the semifinal games. But it's been kind of a surprise, the group of 5 losses, and if there's another one coming up, that means Cincinnati, and not a lot of people expect that. We're now joined. Do we have him?